Folks, hello and welcome to Tavern Chat. I'm your host, Eric Tenkar, your bartender in the OSR, your main proprietor at the Tenkar's Tavern blog. And I got that like superhero curl going on. That's kind of apropos. So, over the weekend at CharaCon, I ran a session of Swords and Wizardry Light. Swords and Wizardry Light is, of that third Zen moment, you're heroic. And we played in it's the Great Cthulhu, Charlie Brown, a 5e scenario. That's a D&D 5e with 5th level characters. And I'm going to read Matt Finch's words of wisdom, and then I'm going to comment. I think it fits. Third Zen moment, heroic, not superhero. Old style games have a human sized scale, not a superpowered scale. At first level, adventurers are barely more capable than a regular person. They live by their wits. But back to the Zen moment. Even as characters rise to the heights of power, they aren't picking up super abilities or high ability scores. Truly high level characters have precious items accumulated over a career of adventuring. They usually have some measure of political power, at least a stronghold. They are deadly when facing normal opponents, but they are not invincible. Old school gaming, again, this is a matter of taste, is the fantasy of taking a guy without tremendous powers, a guy much like yourself but somewhat stronger, or with slight magic powers and becoming a king or a feared sorcerer over time. It's not about a guy who can, at the start of the game, take on 10 club wielding peasants at once. It's got a real world, gritty starting point, and your character isn't personally ever going to become stronger than a dragon. At high levels, he may be able to kill a dragon with a sword or with spells, but never by grabbing its throat and strangling it in a one on one test of strength. To make a comic book analogy, characters don't become Superman, they become Batman. And they don't start as Batman. Batman is the pinnacle. He's a bit faster than normal, a bit stronger than normal. He's got a lot of cash, a Batcave, a butler, a henchman, Robin, and cool gadgets. But he can't leap tall buildings in a single bound. If you don't get a feeling of achievement with Batman instead of Superman as the goal, the old school gaming style probably isn't right for your vision of what makes good and exciting fantasy. And I think that's an interesting way to say it, right? Know what you're looking to get out of it. Old school might not be for everybody, and that's okay. The new school is not okay. It's not right for everybody, and that's okay. And sometimes people can move freely between both styles of play, depending on the group, depending on where they are. That's all cool too. This is not an all or nothing. This is not a zero sum. It's not like if you play old school gaming, you can't play 3E, 5E, Pathfinder. It doesn't work that way. It doesn't. Old school gaming isn't about the triumph of the little guy. Oh, sorry. Old school gaming is about the triumph of the little guy into an epic hero, not the development of an epic hero into a superhuman being. There's nothing wrong with the latter. It's just that old style fantasy matches up with the former. So, I'm going to put this into perspective. Like I said, I ran Swords and Wizardry Light. Swords and Wizardry Light. What are the key takeaways from Swords and Wizardry Light? You use a d20 and a d6. You have the same stats you know from your classic D&D. 15 or better in a statistic and one of your scores gives you a bonus. Low scores don't give you a penalty. Your bonus is a +1. It's all you're gonna get from a high score. 15 or an 18, it's a +1. Now, I've had people question that. There's a reason why. Simplicity is what we're looking for, and we're looking to make the character more than just the sum of their statistics, but what they involve in overplay. Right? The player makes the character, not the statistics. So, I thought we had a good game. We hit the 3 hour mark, spot on. Two of my PCs went down to exactly 0 hit points. Nobody died. Not too shabby. I'm not a killer DM, but I roll my dice out on the table. So if it happens, it happens. But we played a 5e game. It's the Great Cthulhu, Charlie Brown. 5e rules. And the first one I saw 5e rules, I thought they were talking about Call of Cthulhu 5e when I signed up for it. I was a little surprised. So now my players, we still have some of these left, got the cheat sheets, as they call them. They're large index size printed cards with everything you need to know about your class on it. I believe that our character sheets printed out for us were 8 pages long. Now, that's because it gives you, all your powers, all your abilities. There was no way I'd know my abilities for anything because I got to play a monk. I was Snoopy. I was a 5th level monk. And I didn't understand, honestly, how short rest worked and getting hit points back. And I was as new to 5e as Rachel was. And 5e, it played, it had a good DM, it played well. I got to make multiple, it wasn't exactly clear if I got my bonus damage to my fist attacks, but then they stated I did, so okay. And then I could do flurry of blows, and my 2 attacks became 4 attacks. There was a lot to follow. 5th level characters in classic gaming, old school style gaming, don't have as much to follow. We actually did 3 combats in those 4 hours. I'm pretty impressed by that fact, because that's probably at least 1 combat more than I thought you could squeeze into a 2-hour session of 5e, especially with 8 PCs. So, yes, characters were superhuman. Rach had a sorcerer, right? And she had at-will ability. And there's an attack that had 2d10 points of damage if it struck. It wasn't automatic, but hey, I would love at 5th level to have something that just a free attack does 2d10 damage. But maybe I wouldn't love it, right? Because that would mean that the game's power curve is going in a different direction. Heroic versus superheroes. There is a difference, and it's okay to play in both. And I had a good time. GM, the DM, was spot on. He wasn't overly concerned about being correct with the rules. But it played slower. Things moved slower. You found yourself not saying what action you wanted to do that made sense. I'm going to swing my sword. You're looking at your sheet going, all right, I'm going to do a flurry of blows, or even Rach, like looking at her sheet, trying to figure out which of these spells, which she had a spellcaster, was going to be the best. I think the learning curve for new school games, or the super heroic games like Pathfinder and 5e, it's a harder learning curve. If you're going to introduce a player to gaming RPGs, find something like Swords and Wizardry Light, Labyrinth Lord, one of those tiny D6, one of those games that are simpler to show the concept of an RPG before getting them into the horrible bookkeeping end of the RPG. That's just my thought. Again, I'm not saying, for me, heroic is better than super heroic. You know, maybe if my character was just 18th level, but through legitimate play, we can worry about super heroic, Bloodstone Pass, but let's get there. Let's earn it. But that's my view on it. Others' views are going to be different. And you know what? My view does not make it the right view. It just makes it my view. Folks, on that note, We are still in the midst of the endemic. Yep. It's still kicking. Use your common sense. Other than that, be safe, be well, God bless. Roll those dice, roll them well. Tomorrow, 8 p.m. Eastern. That's a Wednesday night. Every Wednesday night. I don't think we've missed a Wednesday night in nearly 2 years. Next Wednesday night, tomorrow, live stream. Myself, Bad Mike. I'm not sure if we have a special guest this week. I'll have to check the calendar. But I'd love to see you all there. If you're watching the live stream, you get to have impact on the live stream. You get to comment. You get to ask questions of the hosts, of our special guests, all that stuff. This is for you. Make the most of it. All right, folks. On that note, I'm out of here.